finding a seat. Finish the sentence you're saying at the moment and don't start a new one. That's my best classroom voice. That's sitting down music playing. Okay, there are plenty of chairs around, so do feel free. There's a couple here at the front, which of course nobody goes anywhere near, even while we're sitting around tables. While I was in the US, I was taking the communion service for our team, and I actually set the chairs up in a semicircle, and they all walked up in and went, "We have to sit in the front row." I said, "Yes, you do." Let's just have a moment of silence as we gather ourselves and acknowledge the country on which we meet. Thanks, Bo. Or am I doing it? Am I doing the slide? There we go. No. I would like to acknowledge, as we always do, the Aboriginal owners of the land on which we are meeting today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. Today we do church on land that was stolen and never ceded. And we welcome all here today. We welcome those in person, we welcome those online. This is a fully affirming community, fully committed to being a safe place for all people who are connected to this community, regardless of gender, sexuality, race, family background, economic situation, and regardless of how old you are, where you come from, what abilities you have, what languages you speak, what religion, spiritual path, tradition, and ethical conviction. Everyone is welcome here, and we want everyone to feel safe here. So, big welcome especially to Joyce this morning. It's so wonderful to have her with us. Yeah, I think a round of applause is fine. I heard some stories of the high tea, which seems to have been very successful. Very sorry to miss it, but I opened my fridge yesterday morning and here were some little boxes of goodies that had come back. So I might get to them before my son does, but it's doubtful. So Joyce is going to be sharing with us the idea of God's love showed in compassion. And we're going to be hearing stories of hope and good news. And my goodness, we can do with some of them. So I want to just open with a brief introduction, a brief little word. And while Rosemary lights the candle for us then, we're going to have a bit of silence while we just go through a few slides of pictures of the work that Joyce is doing. And as we do that, I just want us to be able to sit and feel some of the thanksgiving and some of the joy of the work that is being done, and to remember, and we need to deliberately remember in the face of all of the bad news around in the world, that there is also good news and there is light in the darkness, as the candle will represent, and the darkness can never overcome the light. Lying under the heavy rocks of tradition is the determined life of God. Springing up in the most unlikely places is the rebellious life of God. Moving and flying and soaring is the leaping energy of the life of God. we come together to worship a God who lives in eternal freedom. So we're not doing a video, just the photos. When I was looking at music for this morning, I started reading the words of the song, Let Us Build a House. And it's got 5 verses, and I know how reluctant people are to sing 5 verses. And I found myself getting really quite emotional as I read through the words of them. And I thought, no, we're going to have all 5, but we're going to have it spread out through the service. So we're just singing the one song today, but we're singing it in segments, and it's going to lead us through the service. And do pay attention to the words, they are absolutely wonderful. Thanks, David. Caroline.
Verses 1 and 2. Let us build a house where love can dwell and all can safely live. A place where saints and children tell how hearts learn to forgive. Hopes and dreams and visions, rock of faith and bolt of grace. Here the love of Christ shall end divisions. All are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place. Let us build a house where prophets speak and words are strong and true, where all God's children dare to seek, to dream God's reign anew. Here the cross shall stand as witness and a symbol of God's grace. Here as one we claim the faith of Jesus. All are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place.
Our first reading today is from Luke chapter 10, reading verses 25 to 37. An expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he said, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" He said to him, "What is written in the law? What do you read there?" He answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." And he said to him, "You have given the right answer. Do this, and you will live." But wanting to vindicate him, he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell into the hands of robbers, who stripped him, beat him, and took off, leaving him half dead. Now, by chance, a priest was going down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, while traveling, came upon him, and when he saw him, he was moved with compassion. He went to him, and he bandaged his wounds, treating them with oil and wine. Then he put him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said, 'Take care of him, and when I come back, I will repay you whatever more you spend.' Which of these 3 do you think was the neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?" He said, "The one who showed him mercy." Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise."
I don't know that Joyce needs a lot of introduction in this space, but for anyone who has not come across her before, she's spectacular. Sorry, you would hate that word. Take it away. Joyce was one of my first students when I was teaching in Zambia, 2009. And when my husband and I went to visit the little ministry that she had just started in a concrete shed, feeding AIDS orphans and starting to try to teach them some basic ABCs, because these were kids from long-term poverty, long-term no education. We were blown away by that simple little work that she was doing. And we came back and started telling people about it, and the rest is kind of history. The faithfulness of our little church at Hartwell, the gradual moving out of that story to other people, the holding of the story by this group of people and those beyond it, has just become one of those wonderful things that you could never guess was going to happen. And the times that Graham and I were back in Zambia, we would just have that feeling of the wonder of serendipity, the wonder of living in the flow of all things working together for good. And so, Joyce, we look forward to hearing the message that you bring to us, because that work that we have been involved with you through these years has given us hope and heart. And it's one of the reasons our tiny congregation at Hartwell kept going until this all came about. So you are woven into the fabric of our community here, and we welcome you with loving arms.
Thank you so much. Good morning, and I bring greetings from Zambia. Warm greetings from a Future for Kids school in Zambia. I'm excited to be here. It is such an honor that I should be here and stand before all of you to share our journey in this life, to share that which the Lord has put on our hearts, all of us. And this message or this word is coming and aligning I've aligned this message to the work that we are doing together in Zambia. The passage is about this lawyer who tested God by asking him who his neighbor was. And oftentimes in our lives, we ask ourselves or expect good to be done to us. But in return, Jesus Christ responded not by one answer, but by explaining, showing that our lives, our everyday life as a Christian, is a life to portray that the image of God and the love of God through the Lord Jesus Christ. This parable which Jesus Christ gave about the Good Samaritan, illustrating that a neighbor is anyone who is in need and who encounters a problem which you can solve for him or her. There are three characters in this passage. The first character is the priest who went and passed by this person who was injured, who needed help, who were there half dead. But because he was a priest and all he cared for was maybe he was going to the temple to do a service, and he didn't care. He just passed by. And we don't hear that he had compassion. He just passed by and went his way to continue with his life. And the Levite also passed by. This was a man full of wisdom, full of honor as well, who gave religious services in the temple. And he knew God very well. He kept the law very well, and yet he passed by without minding what was happening. And we hear the third character in this illustration, a Samaritan passing by. And when he saw this man, he felt compassion for this man. He had to spare his time. Wherever he was going, he had to stop and give a service, show love to this man, and care for his wounds, and later on take him on the back of his animal to the inn, and showed love, care, compassion, and gave this man hope. And Jesus asked this lawyer, who from these three do you think was a neighbor? he encouraged him when he said, okay, the neighbor is the one who did good. And that is the question we are asking all of us. Who are you? In this world, who are you? Whom are you representing? And what are you doing for another life that is left half dead? That is the message that I have brought here to show our appreciation to the Hartwell Church and the people in the Hartwell Church for the works that we have done through these last 15 years or 16 years today, saving lives, those lives who had no hope, they had no future. Those young lives who have passed through whatever, I don't know what kind of abuse you have imagined or you can imagine in your heart. And these are the children who have suffered injustice. Innocent as they are, born in poverty, born marginalized, they've never felt to be loved because their parents are frustrated because of their lives, because they can't afford to feed these children, and yet they have children. And this is a message which is helping us to move on. Seeing you are very far away, and when you got the message about the situation in our country, about the situation, you did something. You never passed by. And that is the message I've come to encourage you. And I want to give an illustration or testimonies. I want to give 3 testimonies so that you can see the kind of life that the children in our country, the injustice that they go through, and the hunger that they have to endure throughout their lives, the misery in their hearts that they have to face in their lives. I'll give the first one. The first one was when Mero and Graham came. Some of these things we don't really talk about them, but that is the work that we are doing. It is beyond just giving the education. It is beyond the feeding program. It is endless. The problems are endless. And we tap in to fill in the gaps. Whatever we can do, we do it so that we can justify and ask God to have mercy on these children. Whatever little we can do, we do it. It was a day when we heard in the morning about this child, a girl who was about 8 years, between 8 and 9. And the mother had gone to work in the farms and she was left at home. They were renting a small house, 1-roomed house. She had 2 children and both the children were at our school. And she came in the morning looking miserable and her eyes red and wet. And the teacher noticed something. And she was taken to the counselor, then Miniver, and she started talking to her, asking her what had happened. And we discovered that the landlord had abused her. and had been abusing her. And this day, she was miserable because this landlord brought another friend who came to abuse her, sexually abuse her. And when she came to school, she was withdrawn, miserable, and right away we had to take action. We had to go to the police because the mother wasn't there. We had to go to the police. We had to register. We had to go to the hospital. And when we start our shift, it is endless. We don't know when we are going back home. And this day, we had to go to the hospital, wait for the doctors to examine her, write the police reports, and that case ended up in court. What we wanted is to seek justice. This unfairness on this little child. And later on, there were some judgments which were passed. And it took time for this girl to recover because all the time we had to go into counseling and take her to the hospital for treatment and do the tests, various tests on her. And all those costs we pay as a mission. She's now a big girl and she's in secondary school. And what we do is give hope and bring life. Introduce these children that there is Jesus Christ who loves you and knows what you are going through. And one day you'll be liberated because he's a good God. And later on, we had a situation where our first student, whom we took on, Mishek, we took him on as a first student, but very sick, neglected, abandoned by the family. And when we were doing the enrollment in the community, we found Mishek as our first student, and he ran away. And we ran after him because we thought there was something about this boy. And we got him, and the friends, the friends thought maybe he had done something. And we said, no, we just want to talk to you. Where do you live? He showed us where he lives. And we went there and found the stepmother, a young stepmother. And we said, oh, we are enrolling children into a new school. These children won't be paying anything. And these children will be receiving free education and will be providing even meals. And the people thought, what kind of school is that? We've never seen a school where they say they will provide everything. And this came about as we were praying before we started the school. We were praying with my friend Miniva, whom I invited so that she can help me with this task which I had. And this burden which I had on my heart to start a school. And as I was praying, the Lord said, if you start this school, the Spirit of the Lord said, if you start this school, you'll provide for the children. You'll provide food. You'll provide everything for these children. And even uniforms, you'll provide. I said, this is tough. How will I provide for these children? And I shared with my friend Miniva to say, you know, as we are praying, we should pray in this direction, that as we are praying for this school, whoever will come in that school, we will provide everything for them. She looked at me, but she never argued. She said, okay. So we started praying in that direction. God, you'll provide everything for these children. And sometimes I would sit and say, did I hear right? Am I going something? Maybe something is wrong with me. So we continued in that area, and we started enrolling, and the first 8 students, and we bought the 2 tables and 8 chairs. These were children who were above 10 years old. And our aim was to just teach these children how to read and write, because they had never gone to school. And after that, integrate them in the government schools. But that never happened. So when we got Mishek was a sick boy. He had sores all over, rash. And the stepmother said, okay, you can take Mishek. He's going to die very soon, so he won't live for a long time, so you can take him. I said, okay, we are taking him. And we put him on diet, and they were learning with his friends. And when we took him to the hospital, he was HIV positive. So he had AIDS. Where did he contract it? From his parents. And the mother died. And this father married a new young wife. And we started now, it was now another journey of taking Mishek to the hospital. And we used to take him to the hospital for treatment. We minded his diet. And this medication, which started taking, the father said, you are not going to ruin my life or my marriage. You will know where this boy will be taking this medication, because he's not going to be taking this medication in my house. If my wife knows that this boy is sick, she might start suspecting me. So that was a problem. We said, no problem. Mishek will be taking this medication from school. So in the morning, Mishek could come to school early in the morning, have breakfast, take medication, and go in the classroom. In the evening, they would all knock off, eat lunch, and knock off. In the evening, he would come in again, eat supper with the caretaker, and take medication. The caretaker is the one who was administering the medication to this Mishek. He lived up to when he was in grade 6. And the problem started because this woman back at home started now mistreating him, and he was always there, injustice on him, and many other things. And we didn't realize that he was slowly going down. And we just noticed that he stopped eating, and we counseled him, took him to the hospital. The following month, I think it was too much on his head, the mistreatment, especially from his stepmother and other friends in the community. And we took him to the hospital, and he was admitted. And later on, he was the first child who passed on. It was a very sad moment for us, but we had tried everything we can. And after his death, we went to the family because we found the father, and we left the father with the son when he was very sick, and we said, speak to your son. tell him, apologize if you've got anything to speak to him, because we saw that he wasn't going to last. Speak to your son, we are leaving you. And we went outside the hospital and started, I don't know whether he spoke to him, and tell him whatever you want to tell him, that you love him, that you care for him, apologize for what you did to him. And later on, after 3 hours, when we went back, we found he was gone. A funeral came, and we had no money. And the family said, we have got no money to bury Meshach. And that day, I sent a quick message to Mero to say, we have got a funeral. We need your support. Within the following day, we received some money. Graham sent some money, and we gave Meshach a dignified funeral, burial. And the community, the whole community came to just see what was going to happen. And it was the best we could do. And all the people said, indeed, these are the real Christians who can bury this young man in such a way. The community leaders came to give us support, and they spoke well of the school, spoke well even of our supporters who made us do what we did in such a poor community. What I'm talking about is, you don't know the depth of the support that you give to us, where it goes. You don't know. You don't know that it changes many lives. You don't know that it transforms and gives hope to these vulnerable children and their families. And indeed, to us, it is a miracle, because some of the things that we do under normal circumstances, we couldn't do them if it wasn't for God. The last testimony I want to give you is about Bernard. Bernard is this boy who was, I just want to give you a picture of the work, the extension of work that you are doing. Bernard was a boy who was, had no father, but had a mother, and this mother had other children, and we got on Bernard to come to our school. And this mother one day left Bernard in the house, sleeping on the floor with a blanket and a candle on the floor there. And they went, she went out to the bar, and Bernard was about 8 years old. And the blanket, I think the blanket, the candle fell on the blanket and it caught fire. And Bernard was burnt. The parts of his body on the, I think left or right, was burnt badly. But he was rescued by the neighbors who saw the smoke, and they retrieved him from the house. And 3 days along the line, we didn't see Bernard in school. And we asked the children, can you find out what is happening to Bernard? They came back quickly to say, Bernard was burnt in the fire. He nearly died. He's at home. So we rushed there to find Bernard outside the house, lying on a sack. He wasn't taken to the hospital. And that time, we had no vehicle. And we had to put Bernard on the back. And we left a message with the neighbors to say, when the mother comes, Dale had to follow us at the clinic. When we got to the clinic, they referred us to the big hospital, Children's Hospital. And we went there, and he was treated, he was dressed, and the wounds were cleaned, and we had to do the cleaning of the wound for another 3 weeks. And every day we were going to collect Bernard to take him to the hospital for the dressing. And we had to buy the medications, and we had to buy blankets and a mattress where Bernard could be sleeping. After about 3 months, he was well, and he came back to school. What am I talking about? It is about the love. It is nothing but a heart which has got the love of God. And through the years, I can say my faith has grown from where I was to trust upon the Lord for miracles to happen. And you should not relent to do good. Continue to do good, because out there are many lives, many souls who are going through a lot of injustice. Whatever we are doing in Zambia is maybe 1% of the 99% of a problem which is in Zambia. But we are grateful that we are doing something about the situation. And I can tell you, we are giving hope. Bernard today, when he completed school, he went and he studied hotel management. And after he completed, he joined a bakery. He was working in the confectionery. He's very good at that. Because of the load shedding, that bakeries have closed because they do only 1 shift instead of 3 shifts. So many of their employees were laid off. And Bernard came back to say, I've been laid off. Is there a job for me here? He said, yes. And we tested him in many areas to just make sure that, because he was a spoiled child, we really spoiled him the way we brought him up, because he was in such a dilemma in his life. We had to find places where he could live, find neighbors or the family friends who could look after him. And along the way, he went through a lot of traumas. And we were careful how we handled him. And later on, we took him to the piggery. He was happy to work there. The report came back to say he's excellent. Bernard is excellent in the piggery. So we removed him and took him to the cows, milking cows, the dairy cows, and we got a report to say Bernard is good and he enjoys whatever he does. So we said, okay, he has reformed. I think he has matured. We brought him back to the kitchen. You should see him serving the children. He serves the children with pride and with honor. And he gives counsel to the children that there is hope. And if they love the school, they work hard, they love their Lord, they will be like him. That is hope. And what can we say? We are grateful to you. Don't ever give up. Continue to do good. Out there in the world, they need us. I will quote John chapter 13, verse 35, where Jesus said, "A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples." If you love one another, I don't know how many loves he mentioned here. Love, love, love. Jesus demonstrated his love to us on that cross. And if we are really followers of Jesus Christ, that is how we should live. To love unconditionally and to do service to those who need the service. Whatever God blesses us, it is to share with those who need that. It's any time when God speaks to you, don't relent. Me, I believed God, and I said, these children, I used to tell the parents, these children, we are going to educate them in primary school, secondary school, up to tertiary. And everyone used to laugh at me and say, because I heard it from God, and say, I think there's something wrong with Ivana Chimbila. Mrs. Chimbila, there's something wrong with her. I think she doesn't think straight. This small school can take even the children to secondary school. How? Where are they going to get that? Is nothing. And people used to bring children to our school as a small school. I want you to look after my child whilst I'm doing business. And later on, I will take this child to the government school. Today, I can assure you that the work that you are doing in Zambia, everyone in the community of Kaloko, where we have moved, everyone, every household wants to relate with our school. Why? It is the work that you started and has grown because of the grace of God. Thank you for everything, and continue with the good work. Pastor, the Lord is with you. You are on the right track. Meryl, Sarah, Bob, I don't know what to say. David, let the grace of God be upon you all. You are doing an amazing job. God bless you all. Thank you.
I could add many, many stories, as could Joyce. Drop in the bucket, and let me just say that I don't know what images you had going through your head as you were hearing some of those stories, but taking a child to the hospital was carrying the child on their backs across the other side of the city where the hospital was daily. We are talking about massive amounts of time and of effort. And those stories could be replicated, I don't know how many times. Anyway, what I would like to do is pray for you, my sister. So let us hold Joyce in our prayers, because sometimes that has been what has kept her going, is knowing that even around the other side of the world, there are people who've been holding her in this massive, incredibly difficult work that she has set herself to do. Our God, we thank you for our sister Joyce and all of the wonderful people who have helped and supported and worked alongside her over these years. We thank you for the blessing that she has been to us, as we have found that the little that we thought we were was yet enough when given with love to help. And so now we hold her in your presence, in our prayers, that she may still be given the strength and the encouragement to continue doing what needs to be done. That all of the teachers, the workers, the carers, that are surrounding this school and working so hard within it may continue to feel your love and blessing, and to know that that love, which comes from outside themselves and flows through them, will continue to add to the transformation of the world. And that world that seems such a dark place so often will have all of these beautiful little lights lit and nurtured and growing to the strength of what they can be in transforming their community. And so we thank you for the message that we have heard that reminds us that when we live with grace and love, that goes out into the world in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. Thank you for Joyce's presence among us, encouraging us and letting us know to not give up in living your love into the world around us. Go with her now with your love and your grace and your strength as she continues this sacrificial work that she's doing. We pray in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
As we move into communion, let's sing the third verse of the song. Let us build a house where love is found, water, wine, and meat, a banquet hall on holy ground, where peace and justice meet. Here the love of God through Jesus is revealed in time and space. As we share in Christ the faith that frees us, all are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place.
I think with those stories that Joyce was sharing with us, I was sitting there thinking the kind of reminder for us to remember that was coming through for me. At the Last Supper, Jesus said, "Do this in remembrance of me." So yeah, if you haven't got the juice and stuff going, you can start getting that ready. Do this in remembrance of me. Passover as well, a sense of remembering where we come from and the importance of that, of liberation and justice. The word remembering itself, I think I might have said this once or twice already, it's about putting the members back in place and putting things together. And there's a kind of a healing dimension to remembering that I think is important. You know, you don't want to be dismembered or scattered, and the members come back together again, and it's better to do things together. The opposite of remembering is forgetting. And it seems like the Samaritan chooses to remember on the way, where the others on the journey forget their mission and their call and why they're in the world. And the Samaritan doesn't. The Samaritan doesn't forget, but chooses rather to remember in that moment. Forgetting in the Old English, two components. It's to grasp, but not to grasp. And so something is there that you should be holding on to, and you choose not to do that, is a kind of forgetting. So as we do communion now around the table, if we can bring an intention to this space, let our intention be to remember. Let's make a renewed commitment not to forget. Joyce is with us once a year, and it was wonderful to see so many of us at the high tea last Sunday. But let's not forget. Let's not forget what Joyce is doing. Let's not forget what Future for Kids is doing. And let's choose to remember as a community again today. So let's make a renewed commitment as we share communion together. Let's remember Jesus. Let's remember Jesus' commitment to a more better, a just, a flourishing world, while also remembering Joyce and the Future for Kids today. So, share together around the table as we remember.
And as we lead into our pastoral prayer, which Andy will bring us shortly, let's sing the remaining two verses of the song, verses 4 and 5. Let us build a house where hands will reach beyond the wood and stone, to heal and strengthen, serve and teach, and live the word they've known. Hear the outcast and the stranger, bear the image of God's face. Let us bring an end to fear and danger. All are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place. Let us build a house where all are named, with songs and visions heard, and loved and treasured, taught and claimed as words within the word, built of tears and cries and laughter, prayers of faith and songs of grace. Let this house proclaim from floor to rafter, all are welcome, all are welcome, all are welcome in this place.
To shape our prayer today and give you the opportunity to say a word of how you've been impacted by this morning's service. So I'll open it to you just to say a word, and then we'll go from there.
Encourage.
Encourage, thank you.
Grateful.
Grateful.
Humble.
Humbled.
Happy.
Happy.
Awestruck.
Awestruck.
Remembering.
Remembering.
Challenged.
Challenged. Thank you.
Helped.
Helped. Exciting. Thank you. So we're going to have a time of silent prayer. So you can use those words to shape your prayer and just have a moment together with God on our own as we integrate and understand a little bit more about our role and Joyce's role. And then I'll finish off with prayer. Dear God, thanks for the opportunity to experience Joyce and hear about her profound work with the Future for Kids. We ask that you continue to guide Joyce and continue to fill her with your spirit. Continue to guide her work with the new skills training area. Her time coming here overseas brings her away from the school and its community, and there's a cost to that. And looking further afield, we see a world in pain and confusion. And we ask for wisdom for us as we make sense of this time, as we navigate our own path through these challenging times. And here in our community, we bring Gwen before you as she is recovering from her fractured knee. And in closing, we thank you for the daily gift of life you give us, for the gift of your love and the gift of each other's love. Amen.
Thanks, Andy. Rosemary, do we have any announcements? Where is she? Oh, we have a stand-in. You don't look like Rosemary.
I'm looking very hairy today, obviously. Actually, I don't have any. Mum had to leave, unfortunately, but I don't know what she was going to announce. But I did receive a comment last week and this week that the sound here is a little bit too quiet in the room. What I'm hoping is that if you found it difficult to hear what's going on in the room, if you could stay behind a little bit after church, so Bo and I can maybe try and fine tune how loud the speakers are in here, so we can just improve that experience of the people in the room. Okay, thank you.
Meryl, I wouldn't mind that. If you don't mind. We had a hospitality meeting a little while ago, and I just wanted to, we are putting out a newsletter, but just to bring to mind, we are having on the 13th of July a very exciting working bee after the church. We're going to get rid of a whole lot of stuff because we've booked a hard rubbish collection, and the hospitality committee are going to reward you with a Bunnings sausage in bread. Actually, not sausage in bread, they'll be mine. So if you would like to stay, can you put in your diary, because, you know, hopefully we'll get through it pretty quickly and we can get rid of all the junk, and we'll cook you up a sausage and bread. Then the 3rd of August, which John has put out, we've got our planning meeting. The hospitality committee is going to provide soup and toasted sandwiches. So if you have been invited or thinking that you'd like to come, have a talk to John so we can have numbers, just so we can give you something appropriate. And then there's a few things. Judith and Anne are in charge of the potluck dinners this year. So shortly they will ask a few people if they're prepared to have a few of us in their homes for dinner. So just if you can't make that date, or whoever you're assigned to, or if you're having a home, let them know, because we're going to try and include everybody this year in various ways. Rosemary also tried to start up a monthly movie and a monthly lunch on a Tuesday. I think Rob and her have been having lovely movies and lovely lunch dates. We sort of it slipped off all our radars, so she's going to try a little bit harder to let us know what movie it is and where it is. But have a think, if you don't do a lot on Tuesday and you'd like to have a catch up with a meal or a movie, Rosemary will let us know. So read your newsletter and she will let you know. The other thing that we decided was with the PCNV, so my brain's not here today. What is it?
Christian Network of Victoria.
Okay. While we tried very hard to incorporate a lunch with their meetings, we canned it. And the meetings, I think, are going to go back to 4:00, so they will be here online or here with an afternoon tea, but we're not going to do the lunches anymore. We were just finding that while it was nice to catch up, it was probably not achieving the aims that we wanted to achieve. And the other thing to read up about is Sue has been involved in a group called Share the Dignity, where you donate goods in a bag to women in need. So she's going to write a thing about it, and then she will leave a box here, but just have it on your radar that as a group we've decided we'd like to support this what's it called? Thank you, organisation. The other thing that I had put out there was there is an organisation that are collecting coats for the homeless. And I've now since found there's lots and lots of places, Bunnings, libraries, whatever, but also Jane gives out coats when she cooks for the homeless on a Tuesday, and she is quite excited when she's got given coats that are nice and warm and big and long, that she knows who she wants to give them to. So maybe if you've got coats, we could bring them here or think about taking them to Bunnings, and another organisation will get them out. So.
Well, I would like to thank everybody for the support they provided at the high tea. It was a good celebration. I enjoyed myself, and I usually don't when I'm standing up speaking, but it was a great event. It's been very successful. The function itself raised some 12,000 in terms of the auctions and all that sort of stuff, but together with donations, we're still heading north of a total of 24,000, so it's been very good. As I said at the time, we're trying to build the 2 classrooms together with a workshop. Not every child is going to finish high school. We've got the skills training centre for sewing and stuff, which is girls and boys. If you actually see some of the photos, they haven't been up on these ones, but that are around. At the same time, there's boys who could be trained up and working as mechanics and learning skills in welding. So we need that. Any support you can give would be appreciated. I announced at the time that we've got another generous donor who is going to give $1 for each dollar donated to the construction. Another donor will be donating $1 to the running costs, salaries, food, feeding program, etc. Because you can build as many classrooms as you like, but you still have to feed the children, and indeed people need salaries to live on too. But that's going to be going until the 31st of July, and then that will close. But thank you very much for all the support that everyone did provide, and I hope you did enjoy it as much as we did. Thank you.
David, how much money do you actually need to build those classrooms?
Right. The total cost of building it, plus furnishing it, our tools and all that sort of stuff, is around about 250,000. The Boss Foundation has donated, or is going to donate, $135,000, and then we've got some 60-odd thousand that's also be pledged as well. So that's takes us up to basically 195,000. We think the construction that'll be most of the construction, but then we've still got to furnish it and do fixings on. And when we give quotes, we can't be very exact. The Zambian currency and our currency go up like this. If you follow any of the programs on cash exchange, it is crazy. There'll be a 5% swing or a 10% swing, and supplies, say, of stuff that's got to be imported, like steel, that sort of goes up, and then when the exchange rate goes down, it doesn't drop. And it goes up again the next time. So we do as well as we can. The contracts are going to be, Joyce goes back, she's going to be finalising or arranging contracts with the contractors, and then we'll get a better idea of the cost. But because of exchange rates, the dollar cost, if it was just in Australia, you could sort of do it, but there it's not. And often it works in our favour as well.
So how close do you reckon you are to being able to tick on making it go?
Well, we're going to start. When Joyce goes back and arrange contracts, the contractors and stuff like that, we'll get going, because we've got enough to get going and get it mostly built. So we'll do it and see how we go with that. Any other questions? Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thanks, David. I was going to ask how all that went. I was so sorry to miss it. I was over trying to think about you all at about the right time, and thinking, I'm missing out. And I also just wanted to say a special thank you to the hospitality group and Treen's work in helping support Jane do all of the cooking for it, the serving, all of that. She simply doesn't have the energy anymore to do all by herself, which she sort of has been doing for years, and just finds the support of the people of this church vital. So thank you so much, so very, very much for that. Any other? You had your hand up?
No,
Treen did it. Lovely. Right. Any other announcements? Going, gone. Okay. As we go out from here, let's just have a blessing, and then we will sing our usual blessing. Blessed is a world where all races share what is valued, none are violated, and the joys and beauty of life are accessible to all. Blessed is a world where all people are treated with dignity and respect, and everybody has a safe place called home. Blessed is a world where peace is the ground of justice. Justice is guided by compassion, and compassion is gifted unconditionally. Blessed is a world where we have the courage and inspiration to build such a vision, and the faith and trust in each other to sustain it. Go into the world this week living into the blessing that we help build. Amen.
May the road rise to meet you May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine full upon your face. The rain falls soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of His hand. May God hold you in the palm of their hand. Have a good night, everyone.